Shout out to the OG viewers that know what this blue room around me is. Yes, I am back at my parents' house. I'm back in my old bedroom that I was in pretty much through my entire high school, middle school, most of my elementary school life. I have officially completed my junior year of college. I'm officially a senior at Tuskegee University, and that feels really good. So one big reason why I'm back at my parents' house for about a week and a half or so is that at the end of this week, so on Friday or Saturday, I am heading off to my internship for the summer. And as college students, which I know the majority of you guys are, an internship and work experience during the summer and other times during the year is something that we're constantly, being told about, being told to pursue to get a little bit more competitive and just things like that. And that was something I really wanted to talk about because I know getting an internship and knowing places to find was something I looked on YouTube for way back my freshman year, and even back in my college, and when I was in high school, just as a place to find out how other people go about doing it. And I wanted to get another perspective on what an internship or research or work experience for the summer looks like, because I am a liberal arts humanities student. As you guys know, I'm an English major, but I have brought on someone who gives maybe the more, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, that kind of aspect for it. So some of you guys know him, some of you guys don't. He's been in a couple of my videos, and I'm just really happy to bring him on again. So without further ado, let's get started. Hello everyone, this is my brother, this is Joshua.
Apparently y'all met me.
Exactly. So if you are maybe an older video, he was in my sibling tag video that we did with my sister. We did the Dragon Con video.
Was that the one where you admitted you like white chicks?
Huh?
The movie?
I think we all said that. So before we get talking about internships and things like that, just so that people kind of get a sense for what you're doing. So he's a year ahead of me in college, so he's a fourth year. What are you studying right now?
I'm actually studying applied physics and mechanical engineering. You see, I'm actually in what's known as a 5-year program. I spent my first 3 years studying at Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, the best HBCU in America. And now I'm spending my next 2 years studying at Auburn University to get my mechanical engineering degree. At the end of that, I'll have 2 degrees, one in applied physics and one in mechanical engineering.
Right. And as you guys know, I'm an English major with a minor in philosophy at Tuskegee University. And so one thing we're talking about is getting an internship. So you have had, this will be your 3rd summer with some type of work or research experience, right?
Yes, it will.
So the past 2 summers, what have you done?
Well, last summer I was working with high harmonic laser generation up in Boulder, Colorado, and the summer before that I was working with GE Power and Water. So I've had some really interesting internships.
Right.
The lasers were a research opportunity and GE was an internship.
So what would you say is like your, career interest or goal of some kind?
Well, I definitely want to go on to pursue my master's in mechanical engineering. Past that, I want to spend my first few years out of undergrad working a bit in industry, sort of get a hand for some practical applications of the knowledge that I've accumulated. My end goal in engineering is actually to find ways to improve prosthesis. Excuse me. See, it's hard to say.
That word.
for amputee patients. I'm very interested in biomechanical research, and I'd like to go ahead with that.
Cool. So one thing that I was kind of wanting to do was get a different perspective on what getting an internship looks like from a humanities perspective and from a more STEM perspective. So I just have a couple questions. Like we said, he's a mechanical engineering and applied physics major. So you said you've had, so far this will be your 3rd internship or work experience type thing during the summer. So like what is an internship to you, or like what does that look like?
Well, an internship for me normally looks like 10 to 12 weeks having hands-on work with the company, and very rarely will I ever be expected to do small things like deliver coffee or just answer phone calls. No, most companies, at least the ones I've worked with, have treated me just as they would any employee, just one that won't be there as long. And I've never heard of a STEM internship, or very few STEM internships, where I'm not paid. It's very regularly expected that an internship with a STEM major you will be paid, and fairly handsomely too.
Yeah. And so I think that's a couple things different from like a STEM perspective and a humanities perspective. One thing for me that I found is getting an internship in humanities can kind of be a little ambiguous. because like I'm an English major, so I know a lot of history, communications, different types of people. Um, and that can be a little bit more ambiguous. So like you'll be studying this, but you may be doing something in media or production or communication or something like that, because your major requires you to be very well versed for the written or at least stuff like that. And so what I found was a lot of marketing companies look for humanities people. A lot of your degree is really versatile. That's what I found, and I think it takes a little bit more work to find an internship or something that matches you to exactly what you want to do. Because of that, that can be a good or bad thing. So you just have to keep that in mind. But with engineers or with STEM people, how would you say?
Well, I won't. Well, I won't say that it's easier for us to find what we want for ourselves personally. Every engineer has a specific interest, and if you are in an internship that really bores you, it can be a real slog. It can be a real slog coming in day in day out. But if you find something that really fascinates you, then it's a really enjoyable time, and you almost don't want to leave when the time's up.
Right.
For instance, last semester, like I said, I was doing research rather than an internship. That meant I actually picked my own hours. I chose when to come in and when to come out. And the students take it. And the students that are over you, when you're doing research, you normally work with graduate students, they take note of that. They take note of how much time you spent in the lab and out of the lab, even if you don't specifically have to clock in and clock out.
So, what are your views on paid versus unpaid internships?
I feel like while experience is valuable, if you're not being paid for room and board or meals, then you should be given a salary.
Right.
I feel like for your time, especially if you're spending it away from home for the summer, if you're not being given some form of compensation, then it's not really fair to you. There's only so much that experience can go for.
Like I feel pretty much the same. Most of us are college students that are looking for these internships, and most likely you're not going to have a lot of money going into it.
Yeah.
That's a really big thing that I look for, as long as someone's going to pay me to do the work that I'm going to do. I think that's something. I'm not saying don't take an unpaid internship. I'm just saying know where you are.
And know what you're worth too. Know what you're worth too. If don't ever feel like this one internship that you're unsure of is the only thing for you. If you really want a paid internship, then you can go out and find one.
Definitely. I would say the only time I know a couple of people that are doing this past spring semester. The only time I would take an unpaid internship is during school. So if you're still taking classes, so it's not the only thing you're doing. That's just me. I feel like the best time to get an internship would be during the summer. That kind of contradicts the last thing, but I feel like because you're not taking classes, you're not super busy with a lot of things. You have a lot more time than you would during the semester to look for an internship, and especially like get more well versed in the industry or in the career field that you're trying to get into.
But having said that, there is such a thing as a co-op, which is about 3 semesters. Think of it as a longer internship. It's about a 3-semester long internship, and some of them require you to take time out of your school life, and that's fine. Think of it as like taking a gap year in which you get real-world experience in your field. That's perfectly reasonable, and I've actually been offered a co-op myself that was actually very interesting. Already taking 5 years of school, so I'm already taking an extra year, and I don't want to spend so much time in undergrad.
Yeah, that's something I applaud anyone who can co-op because I think it's kind of like you said, getting a gap year, but also getting work experience and then having time left to finish up your undergraduate degree. So like I said, just know like what works for you, know your schedule, and like how you can manage that. Well, since you've had like some type of work experience, I'll go into mine too. How did you go about finding what you're doing now, and how did you go about finding what you've done in the past?
Okay,
that's a really big thing.
Okay, I'll give you the professional answer, and then I'll give you my answer. The professional answer was that every time I heard there was a company on campus, even if that company was going to be there like an hour later, I would throw on a suit or a sports jacket. I would be there. I would be ready with questions. I'd have my portfolio. I'd have my portfolio out. I'd have
your resume.
Have my resume present
at all times.
Updated at all times. I've always got at least 2 to 3 resumes in my portfolio at all time. Make sure you know people in the company that you want to work for. The first internship I actually got was one that I got partially because a good friend of the family works for GE, and I think she put in a good word for me. Second summer project that I got, the research in Colorado, I got because the head of my department liked me and was very close to the doctor who performed that research.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I'm getting this year was actually something I sort of did for myself. I just Googled the type of research that I wanted to do, looked up a school that I thought was doing research that I was interested in, looked at all the professors that had previously been a part of this program, looked at whatever research was interesting to me, and then just emailed that professor saying I was interested. Of course, yeah, I filled out the forms to be a part of the program, but I made sure the professor knew who I was on a personal level too, which is really important.
So I think one big thing that you kind of touched on was maybe in general was networking. So like you said, companies will come on your college campus at all times because they're looking for new employees, and your school has to produce people that are competent, people that are able to get in the workforce, right?
Yeah.
And so I think when we're talking about knowing someone, really having your networking down, making sure your resume is up to date, making sure you look competitive is a really good way just to kind of start off finding it. Yeah. And I know for me, what I did last summer, I was working kind of in education with special needs kids. And kind of what he said, he knew someone that worked with his company. I had a personal friend that worked in mine that told me about it and said you should really apply for this, and this position. I ended up getting it. I was in upstate New York, and that was an amazing experience. And this internship that I'm going to now, it's with UNCF, which is United Negro College Fund. As some of you know, I go to an HBCU.
Second best in the nation.
We'll get into that later. I go to an HBCU that is really, one of our founders was one of the founders of the UNCF. And so that's an organization that I already know a lot about. And I actually had a couple friends that did the internship that I'm doing now. They told me about it. They told me about the application, what that looks like. I have advisors that are constantly sending me things, just really getting into knowing your career center, if you have one, knowing your advisors, telling them what you want to do.
Absolutely.
So they're constantly getting emails and people outside of your university talking to them and saying, hey, we have this program. Do you have any students that may fit this, that might be interested in this? So if they know who you are, that kind of goes back to networking. Knowing your advisor and your professors knowing who you are, they'll be able to send you things in your email. So finding job opportunities may not be as hard if you're just going headfirst into Google, which isn't always a bad thing. Something
It just happened to work out for me this time.
Yeah, but also Google can be like your best friend. If you just type in, internships for insert your major, insert the period. So summer 2017, internships for biology majors, summer 2017. People are constantly updating what they need for the summer, what they need for different terms in the year. So
also, don't mean to interrupt, but piggybacking off of that, when you put in that search, don't be afraid to put in what makes you unique. Like, if you're African American, you can find a lot of specific opportunities for African American. If you're a woman, same thing. If you have something about your personality that makes you unique, then don't think that you're using that as a selling point. Well, you are using that as a selling point, but you're using it to make yourself succeed. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid or ashamed to do it.
And also be open to new locations. Be open to, don't just stick to your hometown, your home city, or even just like your region of your country. So we live in the South. We're both from Alabama or Tennessee, respectively. Mm-hmm. He's been to Colorado, to North Carolina, and now he's going back to Georgia, which he went to school in. Mm-hmm. I've been in New York, and I'm going to New Orleans this summer. So I think being open is also a really good thing to keep in mind when you're looking for internships. And also, if you have a specific company that, let's say you're a computer science major and you really want to work for like Apple, most companies on their just general website, just scroll all the way down to like, it'll say careers, jobs, listings, something like that. Click on that, and they'll have like a search bar, and it'll put like intern or internships or something like that, and just see what pops up. So if you have like a specific company that you have in mind, just sometimes going to their homepage or going to their general website is a really good place to start too.
Oh, hey, side note, for any STEM majors, or actually any majors at all, if you can't find outside research, don't be afraid to look inward at your university. It might be something you don't think of. Especially at universities, the professors that teach you are usually there to do research, which means that they are currently doing research that you might be able to get onto over the summer. They can pay you for it, and you might be able to find some good opportunities in-house.
It kind of also goes with being open. Sometimes you don't necessarily think about a professor just that you go to the normal class with having an opportunity for you too. So that kind of goes with networking, being open, and just knowing the resources that you have. If you had to give me any last tips about how to find an internship, how to start that process, what would you say to anyone looking for this?
Well, I believe, that would go into just Um,
Start
having a
early.
oh yeah, start very early. Like, don't be afraid to start like maybe in October, November. November. Yeah, you want to at least have sent out applications by December.
By
Um,
December or January when you get back.
yeah. A couple other things. Make sure that you have a professional or somebody that you trust to read your resume, because what you think might be great might not be actually as perfect. I've lost count of how many times I've had to redo my resume. Also, don't be afraid to have several resumes crafted specifically to the position that you want to have. I do have several resumes that have general information about me, but at the same time, those resumes may be different depending on what position I want. Be prepared for the interview, because that's an integral part of receiving your position for the summer. Dress proper, dress properly, keep your back straight, eyes forward, make good eye contact. Be prepared for the questions they ask you, and take some time before you go to the interview to look up the company or program that you're going for. Like I told you, with me personally, I had a Skype interview with the professor that I'm now going to be working with, and before then, I made sure that he knew that I had read a couple of the papers that he had put out before.
Yeah. Yeah, so back to what we were saying, start early. So if you know the deadline, put reminders in your phone. If you know when things are due, make sure that you are on top of all the things you're going to be sending out, because you're going to be sending out more than one.
Don't jump on the first thing that is offered to you. Like, if you are accepted somewhere, wonderful. But even if you've been rejected 7 times and you get 1 acceptance, don't jump on it unless you know this is what you want, or you're given a time limit to accept. Because I've done that a few times, and I thought to myself I might be happier somewhere else.
Right.
And let's not lie. I love the opportunities I've had. I value both of them very much and feel like they've helped me grow as an engineer and as a person. But I do believe very firmly that you can find better for yourself if you afford yourself the opportunity and the patience to do so.
Exactly. Also, props to you for searching this video, because that means you're already starting that process. So good job to you.
Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Exactly. Before we go, where can the people find you? Are you on any social media platforms? Are you active on any social media platforms?
You know the answer to that question.
He has them. He doesn't use them. I'll still link him in the description box.
King in Training, or King in the Snapchat, King in the Making, King in the Training is my Instagram.
And yeah, that's all we have today. So once again, happy searching. If you're still looking for the summer, there's still maybe time. If you're even looking for next semester or anything like that, all these tips are pretty much universal.
Definitely.
So I just want to thank you all for watching. If I was looking down the whole time, I had notes on my iPad.
And if I was, because I'm not used to being on camera.
Exactly. So I just want to thank you guys for watching again. I will see you guys next week.
Take care, y'all.